What's up guys, Jivan back with another video. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down some fights. I'm going to be showing you some of the best moves in the game to end fights fast in Arena. These are some of the moves I use all the time, and they never fail if you use them right. Before we hop into the video, please consider using code JivanTV in the Fortnite item shop, or at least make sure you're using somebody's code because it helps us out a ton. Without further ado, let's get into this video. So in the first clip of this video, I build up to this player very confidently, and then as you can see right here, I get the back two walls, so he only has one direction to go and it's right towards me. So I was able to predict where that player was going to move, and then I was able to clean it up with the sideways ramp here, which is the first move I want to talk about in this video. If you're ever pressuring someone and they're positioned just like this, you can easily place a ramp over top of them and then grab the walls behind them. You want to make sure that they're positioned in a way where the ramp is going to block their shot, just like it did here. That's a great way to catch them off guard, block their shot, and finish up a fight fast. I have one more example showing this move so you can get a better understanding of it before we hop into another move. So as you can see, I have a major health advantage here, so I'm just trying to get in their box, but I'm trying to do it in a safe way, and this ramp move came in clutch. Obviously, when doing this move, you got to make sure they don't have anything in their box, because if they do, you're not going to get a ramp in there. But as you can see, they're positioned perfectly to pull off this move. By going into their box like this, it blocks their shot, gives me a free edit on them, and the fight is mine. So the next OP arena move that I want to talk about is this edit out the side right hand peek move that I do right here. This is the safest way to handle the situation where they're underneath your ramp and you own the left side wall. Once you get this down and you can do it really fast, you'll catch so many people off guard. I do this move almost every time I play Arena. Here's another example of this move. In this fight, I do a lot of good things here beyond just the ramp edit. Pay attention to my movement specifically in this fight after I take the first shot. When I get him coned, I run off to the side. I missed the shot, it didn't really hurt it at all, except it kind of ruined the clip, but you know, really good techniques there. As soon as I get this ramp over top of the player, they should have grabbed walls around them, but I was able to get them first, which allowed me to set up this right hand peek. Then immediately I edit, place a cone over top of them, and sprint to the side so that they can't shoot me. So that's how you do those first two moves. Let's move on to another one that I outplay really good players with. I learned this trick from Martaz and I talked about it in another video. So basically I'd been fighting this player, I launch padded away and I knew they were going to keep pushing me. So I made this fake box and then as soon as they push up, I try to get a sneaky angle from the side. I led them to believe I was in that box and it worked out perfectly. This player was absolutely cracked and I won it because of Martaz's play that he made a tutorial on. Big shout out to you, Martaz. So next up, we're going to talk about a lot of different variants of high walls. High walls are always situational, so we're going to break down a few examples that are all different. So this first one's all about reading the opponent. Anytime I see someone place a ramp in their box like this while I'm pressuring a wall, I know they're going to go up. So I whip a wall above me, and by getting that wall, you'll be able to piece control them on that new layer that they're moving up to. In this next clip, I showed two examples of how you can use high walls. First one was right there where I blocked his path on the ramp, and then the second one's right here where I set up a little peek for myself with this wall on the upper layer. Then get his head to smack in the wall a little bit. But as you can see right here when he starts ramping up, by placing this wall, you kind of ruin their momentum. It forces them to go to the side or try to jump over the wall, which gives you time to get on their level. Messed up my shot a little bit there, but when I go out this side here, I know they're a layer up, and so by placing this wall and cone, I basically set myself up a peek. I just wait patiently in this window until they actually jump into that point of view, and then that's when I strike. This wall window cone trick comes in handy in so many situations. I'll show you another example of this one right here. This is a very similar example, except for this is the variation where you do it with a side jump. If you ever predict that they could be in that layer where I side jump to, just placing a quick cone over top of them can sometimes get them trapped like it did there. Just a quick side jump, make a window, and then place a cone, and you'll get them trapped sometimes. I know it can be hard to track opponents during fights while doing side jumps and all these build moves, but that's one of the most important skills to breaking through to the next level. Tracking during a fight, keeping the eye on the ball. Next up is one of the most useful version of high walls in my opinion. If you don't have much experience with high walls, I'm going to be making another high wall piece control tutorial. That'll be out in the next few days here, next week. I gotta get clips for it. And I actually have another high wall piece control tutorial. If you haven't seen that, I definitely recommend checking it out. But let me break this down for you. High walls are my go-to high ground retake just because you can piece them up so often, just like I do here. So right here I can see that his builds are a few layers above mine, so doing a high wall here is a perfect idea. When I side jump, I swing walls up and then look down and place a floor. And then at this point in the retake, you can edit a window and place a cone over top of them. In this situation, I just edit through and full box them and it works out perfectly. I could have done that edit out the side trick, but I figured I got them so caught off guard that I could just edit on them real quick, and it did work. Here's another example of this type of high wall. I know they're a few layers above me because they're camping on the roof, so doing a high wall here is a perfect idea to get to their level and maybe get a piece control opportunity. The nice thing about high walls is once you do the initial high wall, you have a second to kind of look around and try to track your opponent, because there's that little area where you need to like jump and place a ramp. That slows it down so you have an opportunity to read the situation and look for the piece control opportunity. I see he's just ramping up, so I'm able to edit through, get cones over top of him, get that first shot, and then when I'm in this situation, I know they're gonna go back the other way, so I pre-box him out that side. If you don't have experience with high walls, I recommend hopping into creative and practicing just side jumping and doing high walls until you can do it every time. It's such an important move to get down. Also keep an eye out for that new high wall piece control tutorial. I'll try to get it out as soon as possible. So those first 5 moves that I showed you are some of the most useful moves in Arena. Now that we covered those, I'm going to break down a few more fights that I handled really well, and you'll probably learn something from it. But if you're trying to get those moves down, just watch it back. Anytime you feel stuck with a certain move, watch it back how I handled it, and it'll help you get that move down yourself. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I advertise this ramp face trick so often. I did it unsuccessfully here. I walked up against their wall, tried to get the ramp in, and failed. And when I do that, usually they try to edit on me, so I went for a safe pre-fire. While I was going for the pre-fire, I backed up into my box so I could reset this wall as soon as they edit. That's the safest way to do a pre-fire, making sure you have a wall that you can reset once they edit on you. In this next fight, some of you may have saw it on my Instagram, I do a really good job of getting up to their lair really fast. This situation pops up pretty frequently. Anytime there's like a cone above me, they don't have a cone beneath them, you can quickly go for this move to get on their lair fast and get that cheeky shot. I literally did this to TNA Slick once. It's such a useful move. This next clip was in a 1v2 situation. Anytime I'm in a 1v2, I'm looking for an opportunity to get one of them split so that I can strike on them really fast and get a quick knock. Even though I wasn't that healthy, I knew this was my opportunity to come back, and I saved my game with it. Biggest thing to note was the piece control from behind cover. I hug my peak while I'm placing the cone over top of them so they can't pre-fire me. That was clutch, bro. I ended up winning that game because of that. Okay, so this next fight was literally the definition of playing safe and smart. The peaks I was getting here in my movement throughout this fight was perfect. Each of my pumps didn't do that much damage, but the enemy never had a chance to shoot me until the very end when I made that bad peek, but they had their pickaxe out, so it worked. So like this first angle, you know, I'm walking to the side and I get a perfect peek. I'm able to build the wall to block their shot. Then I piece control this way, get the cone over top of them while going around the corner, get another peek shot. And then lastly, the piece control from behind cover, just like I was talking about before, to finish it up at the end here. Perfect fight all around. Save my boy PB. Next up, little sniper trick for you. Sometimes people just don't like to peek because you have a sniper out, so shooting in one direction, pretending like you're shooting someone else, and then hitting them with that head bop can work out really well. And this fight is a perfect example of never losing track of your opponent. It's so important. I literally won this fight because I was keeping my eyes on the ball. And this is very similar to the wall topic that we were talking about earlier. Placing that wall up a layer so you can slip a cone through it really fast to get that last peek works really well. I tracked him, saw he went down here, got that wall, cone over top of them, fight's over. Last fight we're going to talk about was a really good example of knowing where your opponent's going to go based on where builds are during your fight. As you can see, I was pre-boxing out of side because that was really the only way I could predict them going. Let me slow it down for you here. So I started out by getting that piece control from behind cover like I was talking about earlier, but once I get that cone over top of them, I miss that back wall, so I pre-box out that side because if there's an open wall in a fight, usually they're going to try to run out that open wall. If my aim was a little more solid here, it would have been a perfect fight, but that was a really good example of predicting your opponent. Hopefully this video helped you out with fighting. If you like this, let me know in the comments so that I can make more just like this video. Got lots of great content coming soon, so make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget to hit that like button and use code JivanTV in the Fortnite item shop. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.